Hello dear friends, welcome back to another very essential video tutorial. Today our topic is an important blood test that can measure the amount of glycosylated hemoglobin in our blood. The test shows what a person's average blood glucose levels was for the 2 to 3 months before the test. This can help determine how well a person's diabetes is being controlled over time. The test is often called A1C or sometimes called hemoglobin A1C. But before understanding this test and how the test works, we need to know few things such as why the hemoglobin is glycosylated, under which physiological condition hemoglobin could be glycosylated, and what does this glycosylation clinically means. So you must be familiar with various types of hemoglobin present in our body. Due to the developmental pattern of globin gene expression, different tetrameric forms of hemoglobin are present at different times during embryonic, fetal and adult lifespans. The predominant embryonic tetramers are referred to as hemoglobin Gower 1 and hemoglobin Gower 2. The fetal tetramers are identified as hemoglobin Portland and hemoglobin F, with HbF the most abundant form in fetal development. In the adult, the tetrameric hemoglobin is referred to as adult hemoglobin or HbA. There are two forms of adult hemoglobins. HbA1 is the most prevalent form with minor amount of HbA2 form from the alpha and delta globin proteins. Hemoglobin A1 is made up of 2 alpha chain and 2 beta chain, but the hemoglobin A2 is made up of 2 alpha chain and 2 delta globin chain. There are almost always a small amount of HbA found in adults and can represent as much as 0.5% of the total hemoglobin. Now we have to know what is HbA1c. By the way, between HbA1 and HbA1c there is no difference in protein structure. Glucose, a type of sugar molecule in the blood, normally becomes stuck to hemoglobin molecules. This means the hemoglobin has become glycosylated, or also referred to as hemoglobin A1c or HbA1c. As a person's blood sugar becomes higher, more of the person's hemoglobin becomes glycosylated. The glucose remains attached to the hemoglobin for the life of the red blood cell, or about 2 to 3 months, and this glycosylated hemoglobin has adverse effects. But now we need to realize the pathophysiology and biology behind the glycosylation of hemoglobin. So high hemoglobin A1c level is a good indication of diabetes. A hemoglobin A1c test measures the average blood glucose level over the previous 3 months. A1c testing relies on hemoglobin. We know a red blood cells lives for approximately 120 days. Hemoglobin is contained within the red blood cell, and glucose, when its concentration is more in our blood, it enters the red blood cell. Glucose naturally binds to hemoglobin. This binding creates the glycated or glycosylated hemoglobin, that is HbA1c. HbA1c, so it relies on hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is the part of the red blood cell that carries oxygen throughout the body. When we have glucose in our excess in our body, it sticks to, or it glycates to the hemoglobin molecule. The more glucose in our blood, the more it sticks to hemoglobin. Then it can stay there for around 3 months, or about how long the average red blood cell lives. The A1c test measures the average amount of glucose that has been attached to hemoglobin over time. So let us understand how this test occurs. So from an individual who is diabetic or could be diabetic, the blood is taken, and then that blood sample will be analyzed in a HbA1 analyzer. After that, the result is provided. If the HbA1c level is high, it may be a sign of diabetes, a chronic condition that can cause serious health problems. including heart disease, kidney disease, and nerve damage. Before looking at the result, let us consider few important points. People with diabetes are required to get these tests done regularly so that they can keep a check on their blood sugar levels. This ultimately helps in diabetes management. The test can tell if you need to adjust your diabetes medicine. It is a 3-month average because that's typically how long a red blood cell lives. So the HbA1c test shows what the average amount of glucose attached to hemoglobin has been over the past 3 months. Fasting blood glucose level test gives an indication of our current glucose level only, but the HbA1c test serves as an overall marker of what our average glucose levels are over a period of 2 to 3 months. A 2-hour postprandial blood sugar test measures the blood sugar exactly 2 hours after you starting eating a meal. This test is most often done at home when you have diabetes. It can see if you are taking the right amount of insulin with meals. But in contrast, the hemoglobin A1c test serves as an overall marker, and this test is amazing. Now let us try to understand how to look at the results. So here it's a standard chart that tells us what percentage of hemoglobin 1c corresponds to blood glucose concentration. For example, HbA1c 4% means 68 mg per deciliter of blood glucose, or HbA1c 9% indicates 212 mg per deciliter of blood glucose. For people without diabetes, the normal range for the hemoglobin A1c level is between 4% and 5.6%. Hemoglobin A1c levels between 5.7% and 6.4% mean the patient have pre-diabetes and a higher chance of getting diabetes. Levels of 6.5% or higher means that the person have diabetes. People with diabetes should have an hemoglobin A1c test every 3 months to make sure their blood sugar is in their target range. So what happens in this case when the sugar or glucose content in the food is absorbed in the bloodstream and carried to the liver, and then half of it is transported to the entire body, blood sugar level increases. The pancreas then releases insulin in reaction to the increase of sugar in the blood. Insulin transports glucose to cells throughout the body that absorb and use it. Glucose can also be stored by insulin. Blood sugar level then drops. Glucose is absorbed into cells that make up muscle, the liver, adipocyte or fat cells, etc. How does the insulin work? Insulin basically binds with the insulin receptor, and it is the key that unlocks the glucose transporter so that glucose can be transported through the glucose channel or glucose transporter, which is closed in absence of insulin. Glucose channel when open, glucose will enter the cell. What happens normally when insulin released? Glucose is taken up by the muscle cells, liver cells and adipocyte cells, but in case of diabetic condition, glucose taken up by muscle cells and fat cells. In diabetic condition, insulin secretion is reduced, so insulin cannot bind with the insulin receptor and glucose cannot enter into the cell, so the blood glucose level is increased. So too much glucose in blood leads to the glycosylation of hemoglobin, and so the glycosylation of hemoglobin is an indication of diabetic condition. Now let us understand the chemistry a little bit. Hemoglobin A1C results from the non-enzymatic irreversible concentration dependent covalent bonding of glucose to hemoglobin within the erythrocytes. Glycosylation occurs in a two-step Maillard reaction. It involves the initial formation of a labile CIF base which undergo a subsequent Amadori rearrangement leading to formation of an Amadori product, that is HbA1c. Driven by the nucleophilic nature of the amino terminal, amino group of hemoglobin condenses with glucose found in the erythrocytes or RBCs. The cumulative amount of HbA1c in an erythrocyte is directly proportional to the time-dependent concentration of glucose within the erythrocytes. That's it, and I believe the video will help you to understand the topic and this particular test for diabetes. So please hit the like button and share the video with your friends. If you have any doubt, you can comment on this video. Subscribe to this channel to get more and more video like this in future. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.